Welcome to the Thriving Mayor Show, the weekly broadcast featuring former and current mayors who are thriving, sharing their story, insight, wisdom, and viewpoint. Join us and comment on social media as we meet another of the superheroes we elect to lead the rejuvenation of our towns and cities and who serve us all. Visit www.thrivingmayor.com to learn more. Here we go. Hello, everybody. It's Michael Hubicki, the host of the Thriving Mayor Show. It's May the 26th, 2021, and I'm super honored and happy today to have as our special Thriving Mayor guest, the former mayor of Humboldt, Saskatchewan, Malcolm Eaton. Hello, Malcolm. How are you today?
Hey, very good. Good morning, Michael.
Thanks so much for joining us. Beautiful sunny day here in Ontario. Hopefully it's the same in Saskatchewan.
We're getting some sunshine and hoping for rain though, but we'll take the sunshine while it's here.
Yeah, to keep those crops hydrated.
Exactly.
Just want everyone to know that this show was pre-recorded on May 13th, but we always welcome your comments on social media during the broadcast, which is at 10 a.m. or anytime thereafter on Facebook or on YouTube. We'll begin this episode by honoring the Aboriginal land and the Indigenous peoples who've lived here from the beginning. As settlers, we're grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. In particular, we honor the ancestors of the land, the Anishinaabeg, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, Ojibwe, Chippewa peoples. This territory is covered by the Williams Treaty. Malcolm and his wife Carol live in Humboldt, Saskatchewan, and have raised a family of 5 children in the community over the past 25 years. In 2006, Malcolm retired after a 34-year career as a teacher and school principal. He continues to teach in the Industrial Arts program at Humboldt Collegiate. In November 2016, Malcolm retired from his position as the mayor of Humboldt. He was first elected to the Humboldt City Council in 2003 and became the mayor in 2006, so was mayor for 10 years. And during this time, he guided the city through a period of significant growth and development. And Humboldt region is one of Saskatchewan's economic hotspots with a strong agricultural sector along with a significant manufacturing and mining industry presence. He's been on many boards, is an educator with a demonstrated history of working in municipal public policy, and is skilled in analytical skills, management, community engagement, leadership, and strategic planning. He has a postgraduate diploma focused in educational leadership and administration from the University of Regina. And we'll dive deeper into Malcolm's extensive volunteer and board work, but I'd like to end his introduction with his LinkedIn bio. He's the former Old Grey Mayor of Humboldt, an educator, community builder, board member, and is interested in all things related to governance and planning for Saskatchewan municipalities. Welcome, Malcolm. Great to have you here.
Great to be here.
I don't know why I'm having a hard time saying Humboldt. Am I getting that right?
Yep, you are.
Yeah.
You sure are. Yep.
Humboldt. It's whenever we get the D's and the T's together, it kind of throws me off, I guess.
Sure.
Your self-description is very unique. Let's show everybody on the show how old gray mayors can thrive. And you said before the show you don't often see the word thrive and mayor in the same sentence. So tell me a little bit about that. What does that conjure up for you?
Well, I think it sort of brings to mind that sometimes as mayor we feel a little bit down, hard done by, maybe not things not going as well as they should. Maybe not reaching sort of the milestones and achieving some of the progress you hope for your community. And but I really like the word thriving because I think when we are at our best in our role as mayor and things are going well and the community's firing on all cylinders, that's what it feels like. Your community is thriving, your businesses are thriving. So it's a great word, and and I think it's a word we should use more often when we talk about mayors and their communities.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, I've never been a mayor, and I had a 31-year career as working as a professional consultant and helping towns and cities build parks and trails and community centers, marinas, waterfront streetscapes, and downtown revitalization, and things like that. And I didn't get the chance to get to know as many mayors as I would have liked. And that's why now I'm just loving this opportunity to get to meet former and current mayors and other special guests on the show who have something to offer mayors in our cities and towns, and 80% of us who live in our cities and towns, and help us lead thriving lives and improve the quality of living for so many of us. Also, being the mayor, quite often you've got the target on your back.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're the quarterback, you're the cheerleader, you're the point person, you're the face of the community, and that can be challenging at times when things are going well, and when there's some good things happening. It's a role that I think we embrace as mayors, and really want to put a very positive face on our communities. And I sure, that was part of what I really wanted to do in my time as mayor in Humboldt. A lot of things were happening. We were getting a lot of growth. We were getting a lot of attention. But we also had some real challenges in the midst of the opportunities for growth. And I really wanted the folks in our region to connect with our community. I wanted the businesses and industry in our community and region to connect with us, and for us to connect with them. And I wanted our provincial government to know who we were and where we were and what we were doing. So it was really important to me to be that quarterback, that face of the community, and try to meet some of those challenges head on, and try to work with other partners, especially other orders of government, to support us and to help us.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit later. And when you were talking about the mayor and sometimes the downtimes, George Cuff had a funny story when he was on the show. And another friend of his who was a mayor, said that they had given him a large poster of a parade, and the caption was, "When you're getting run out of town, get in front of the mob so it looks like you're leading the parade."
Yes,
that was always that's one of my favorite George quotes, and he's got a lot of them. On your Facebook page, Malcolm, you've got a lot of photos of outdoors and some really beautiful rolling hills and creeks and rivers and things. And I'm wondering, is that part of the way that you're staying young and thriving, is enjoying the outdoors whenever you can? And
very much so, very much so. COVID allowing, and I'm feeling a lot of hope and optimism about where we're headed with COVID challenges these days. But my wife and I have got some real plans in June to do some camping in places in our province where there's lots of prairie, lots of places to hike and just enjoy some of the prairie kind of scenery and ambience, the birds, the wildlife, etc. I feel a real affinity to the prairie landscape. And then later in the summer, we're going to head north up into one of our national parks, and there we're in the boreal forest. And
which park?
Prince Albert National Park.
Oh, beautiful.
And we have for years and years and years spent time in the summer with our family up there. And again, the hikes never get old, and the beach is nice, and just the opportunity to be out and about outside of the urban setting and outside of our homes. We really enjoy that. And I find it, I'm way more active. I get out, we hike, we do things. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's amazing. We live on our boat in Bay of Quinte, and this morning I went for a walk and I counted 18 turtles.
Wow.
Just in the little marina basin there, and the wildlife is just it's so interesting to watch and invigorating.
Yeah.
Now, and you mentioned birds. Are you a birder? You and your wife?
Just really starting to enjoy that in our home. We always had bird feeders. We're always looking at what's coming in and out of the yard. But more so on the outdoor side of things. This morning, I was out for a walk, and there's red-winged blackbirds hanging around on the reeds and the pussy willows out there, and beautiful bright red. And some of them, maybe it's because they're just coming back or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're just landing right beside you, and you're almost within arm's reach, and it's just so fascinating to look at these little creatures and realize they've just been on this incredible journey to get here.
Yeah,
just amazing. Yeah.
And your time at Humboldt, you'd mentioned arts and recreation and culture and parks and tell us a little bit about the some of the success stories and some of the fun projects that you were kind of quarterbacking during your 10 years.
Well, certainly, as a growing community, we had a couple of really key things happen during my time, and some of those, those things are still happening in Humboldt. And basically, it was based on the notion that we're going to have a new potash mine down the road, and we are very close to several potash mines now. So we have that strong agricultural economy going on. We also have a mining industry, and we also have a manufacturing industry, mostly related to welding farm machinery together in our region. So we are one of those economic hotspots, and the new potash mine was particularly significant. It's under development, and it's going to result in some pretty significant increases in the population of our region, and notably Humboldt as sort of a larger community in the centering in the region. We're going to get a lot of the benefit of that. So I think the provincial government recognized that was going to require some additional facilities in our community, and the very first one was a new hospital. We have a beautiful new hospital. I sort of wasn't quarterbacking that. We were just involved as a council, supporting the local groups and organizations. We were raising money. We had to do some tax levies to help pay for part of the construction and equipment and things like that. We also had two brand new schools, most notably the new high school. And we made a decision as part of that process, again in a partnership role, to put the new high school and attach it to our recreation facilities. So our arena, our curling facility, our swimming pool, our community halls, the new high school was attached to that facility. And in addition, the community college also is attached. So we have this sort of agreements, and we have various kind of opportunities there, having those facilities together. It's great for the students, and it's great for the community to be so closely tied together like that. And there's some efficiencies in operating and things like that. So that, and when they were building the new high school, that was an opportunity for us then to do our own project on the recreation facilities, to bring some things to change, to modernize, to add some things. We added a fitness center. We changed the layout of how you access the building, so it was very open and you could access all parts of the building in a common sort of lobby area. We added a wheelchair. We made it more wheelchair accessible. We put in an elevator. We added some wheelchair accessible washrooms. Those were really important things to me. Those were a couple of the really significant things, because both those things, healthcare and recreation and education, those pieces all are very, very important to communities.
Yeah, and it sounds like you can right from your house there. You can get onto a nice walking path of trails and access some of the outdoor parkland and amenities as well, which is really hot. Like, there's so many mayors now, and even Municipal World Magazine. I think the cover of the recent article said parks are the new medicine.
Yeah.
That especially during the pandemic, the outdoors are becoming so critical to our mental health and our physical health. So yeah, kudos to you, Malcolm, and your councils for making all those great things happen.
Pretty exciting time. Pretty exciting. Yep.
Yeah. So you've been in Humboldt for 25 years. What led you there, and where were you before?
Okay. I born and raised in Saskatchewan, attended the University of Regina, took my first teaching jobs in some small communities here in Saskatchewan, and then sort of my wife and I were looking for an adventure. And we moved to northern British Columbia, a community called Dawson Creek. Up there in the Fort St. John, Dawson Creek, Peace River country. Spent 11, 12 years of my teaching career up there. And, it was a place where there were a lot of people coming from other places to teach and work. There were a lot of opportunities. It was sort of a growing community at the time. I became a school principal up there and was able to be involved in a number of learning and professional development opportunities and so on. And reached a point with 4 kids that came along in our time up there that seemed to be growing up a long ways from their grandparents. So we made the decision to move back to Saskatchewan. And, Humboldt was looking for a school principal, and I applied, and that became our new home. And so we've spent a lot of time in Humboldt over the years and became very connected and engaged with the community.
Yeah. That's a fun story. And growing up, where were you born? And
yeah,
tell us a little bit about that.
I was born in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and you had just a wonderful conversation with the mayor of Moose Jaw.
This notorious city.
Yeah, Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. The train station back when I was a kid was the biggest building you could ever imagine. But my father was basically in the car, truck, farm machinery sales business world, and we ended up in Regina when I was very young, and then we ended up in southern Saskatchewan in a smaller community, Carlisle, Saskatchewan. For many years, my dad was in business there. So Saskatchewan is really, we're homebodies. Saskatchewan is home.
Yeah, wonderful. I've spent a few days in Saskatchewan, but not enough, and went to a wedding in Regina. Driven through a few times, but wonderful people too. And quite often they've got a really good football team.
Yes. And that's sort of a big disappointment for everybody these days, not to be watching, right across the CFL. We're just not able to participate in one of our favorite things. And there are other favorite things as well. We haven't been able to participate. I really miss watching my grandkids play ball, play hockey, do the things grandkids do. So,
how many grandkids do you have?
I have 5 grandchildren, 2 of them in Saskatchewan, a couple hours away, and the others are in Calgary right now. I have 2 of our kids live in Calgary, and so we have some grandchildren over in Calgary.
Yeah, wonderful. So tell us a little bit, Malcolm, the transition from principal to, I guess, counselor, and then obviously up to the big step up to the to mayor.
Well, was always been involved in the community, and I think I get that from my dad. He was always involved in the community. He was on school boards. He coached. He was on town councils and different committees and things like that. So
Right.
just with kids, it's just really natural to be involved in the community. And Carol and I have done all kinds of things. We ran the Girl Guide cookie campaign once, coaching, helping with the sports and the things the kids are involved in. You just really get engaged with other people in the community. And so it became one of those things where one day somebody came along and said, I had been president of minor ball. I had been on the library board. I'd done a number of things. And somebody said, Malcolm, you should run for council. And there was a transition going on. I knew the mayor. I went and had a conversation with the mayor. He's a fellow I really respected and admired. So I ran for election, and that was my first experience in that world. Then
tell us a little bit about your first campaign, and then that election night. And
yeah, very interesting. One of the things I remember is the local Chamber of Commerce always puts a candidates forum on, and I think there were 13 of us running for the 6 spots on council, and there we were all lined up on a stage, expected to say a few words and then responding to questions. That was an interesting experience every time it happened. But yeah, the campaign was, there were some things, having been involved in the baseball world with our minor baseball association, we were always lobbying, the town council of the day for some improvements here. Could you do this? Could you fix that? The same thing through some of the, I was on the library board, and this going back when accessibility was just becoming an issue, and we had purchased an old accounting office, and we're turning it into our library. And I just felt really strongly from an education background. I really wanted this place to be wheelchair accessible, very accessible. And council didn't move that way. The accessibility issue was disappointing. It was sort of go around to the back, we'll put a bell on the door and you can come in. It just would not get anywhere today. But back in those days, that's going back quite a few years. That was changed, by the way, by councils during my time. But anyways, it just seemed like logical. I wanted to go to this next level and be involved in making some of these decisions, trying to respond to different things in the community where I thought there needed to be some, maybe a little more attention. So that's how I got involved. And I think being sort of well known in the community and as a school principal and being involved in things, I think I had lots of support and appreciated that very much.
Yeah, and your first mayoral campaign, was that a bit of a barn burner or a slam dunk?
No, that was a bit of I was elected by acclamation, actually. The mayor decided to retire. He'd been mayor for 2 years. And I had, it just seemed like, okay, I think I'm ready to put my name forward to that next step. And
so that was during your term as a councillor.
Yes, right. I was a councillor, and then at the end of that term, I would have run again for council, but as the mayor stepped down, I put my name forward for mayor, and nobody else did.
No,
the
slam dunk.
Yeah, the second term was there was a campaign, and I had somebody running who was. It was the beginning of what I call the infrastructure word became common language for all of us. There was a time when if you said infrastructure, nobody knew what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows. Her campaign really focused on, we're not spending enough money on infrastructure. We're spending too much money on recreation and culture. And, I'm simplifying it, of course.
Yeah.
But, she raised a whole number of things that I paid attention to, had to.
Yeah.
After, she was in touch with people in the community like I was, and she was hearing some different kind of issues and concerns. That's the beautiful thing about election campaigns. A lot of stuff starts coming up, whether it's from the candidates or people who go door to door, hear things. You begin to get a real sense of community engagement during an election. And I always told my council, and for myself as well, we need to pay attention to what people are saying in their campaigns, because those are the things that are the issues out there. And so election campaigns are really good when you've got people running, because people come forward with their ideas and their issues and their concerns, and that's important for every council to kind of take stock of where they're at, where they're going as a result of that.
Yeah, it's I haven't really thought of it that way, but yeah, it's a great opportunity for the constituents to give you the feedback and what's really on their mind. And then to kind of on the fly adapt it into your platform and your campaigning. That makes a lot. And then to take it forward into your vision for your term is super powerful. So what happened on election night?
Well, in those days there was sort of a gathering, and I continued when I first was elected as mayor. We had a kind of a community gathering, and anybody and everybody was invited. If you were running for council, come. If you were past mayor or whatever, usually in a community hall somewhere or a facility. And it just basically, we had the results were posted, and, it was a very friendly, congratulatory kind of a thing. As mayor, I had an opportunity for people who weren't successful to thank them for running, that kind of thing. But yes, it was when you run an election campaign and you're out there trying to do things and talk to people, and of course, you only need to win by one vote, but I was fortunate. I had lots of support, and, I think people recognized I was doing a good job. And, we had some transition going on, new councilors, some councilors stepping aside, some new people coming forward. So I had a new council, or well, not totally new, but I had some new council members on each of the terms that I served as mayor, and I found that a really important piece to add diversity and new dimensions to the way council thought and the way we operated as a council.
Yeah, and that's a great word too for council and governance is diversity. Yep. And we're seeing now so much more so. And one of my first guests on the show was Amanda McDougall, who's the new mayor in Cape Breton Regional Municipality, and she had her baby Emma on the show with her. And it was really exciting, just heartwarming to see her and the community embrace her. Like that, in the new role as mayor, and her baby, right in the mayor's office with her. Changing gears a little bit, Malcolm. I think back it was in 2018, and Humboldt had that the horrific tragedy happen, and just share us a little bit about how the community came together, and it was worldwide news, and really touched all our hearts.
Yeah, that's a significant part of Humboldt's story, and always will be. It doesn't go away. And even as Carol and I travel, and many folks from Humboldt will tell you this, it doesn't matter where you are. You say you're from Humboldt, somebody connects to that particular event. It very, very difficult. I mean, hockey teams in small communities right across Canada. I mean, the rink and your local hockey team, that's one of the hearts of a community. You know,
Yeah.
I always say there are more hearts to communities than one, and that's certainly one of them. And, you know, my son played for 3 years with Humboldt Broncos, won a national championship with them back in 2003. Carol and I billeted Bronco hockey players for over 10 years. So I mean, you're just connected. Never mind, you know, as mayor and council, you're working, you know, a junior hockey team like that's a very important part of the community, and you're always working with them. I mean, they use your facilities. The kids are in the community. As a school principal, we used to have the players come to school and work with the kids. As a minor hockey coach, I had Bronco hockey players coming and helping. So you're just connected. And it was just really hard, and still is, you know, to talk about it. The community, just marvelous, but not just our community. Our team was on the way to play a game in Nipawin, and the mayor of Nipawin and their community and their council and their hockey team have just been marvelous through the process. The town of Tisdale down the road, the mayor of Tisdale, very close to the accident, and his council, wonderful. Town of Melfort just up there. So other Saskatchewan communities who were a little more directly involved than others have just been wonderful. But it brings out the best in people. But at the same time, you know, it's your heart. It's just, your heart is just, is hurt. I mean, those families, those players, their friends, their girlfriends, their billet families, so many people affected. You know, very, very difficult.
Well, it's wonderful to see how the community came together and support, and all the satellite communities around in the region and, well, in the country.
Tremendous outpouring of support, yes, right across the country, internationally. My wife was involved with the quilt project. Quilts were being made and initially provided, so, you know, wrap yourself in this warm blanket for comfort, and thousands of quilts were made and distributed to players, former players, billet families, parents, brothers, sisters, girlfriends. So, I mean, there have been some wonderful things come out of that. You know, as a former mayor, it was difficult. I had people say to me, "Aren't you glad you weren't the mayor?" And that was very hard. Sorry. You know, Rob Minch was the mayor, and Rob had served with me on council for over 10 years. Rob, great man, did a great job of leading his council through this journey. I mean, he was a quarterback. He was the point man. There's no playbook for this. This is all new. I remember the time we spent on our emergency plan as a community. You know, every community has one. Well, you know, the emergency plan doesn't work when you have a tragedy like this.
No.
So, you know, it has some lasting effects. There's our local museum has collected and cataloged all of the artwork, all of the gifts, all of the posters, all of the things that were sent to our community, thousands of them.
Wow.
You know, we've had some special events on the anniversary of the accident, and where the community has been involved. And we have a project right now going on. There's a sort of a legacy tribute center in the plans, which will also attach to the recreation and education facilities in our community. And it'll be a place for some special things to happen. So, but it's, you know, for every mayor out there, you know, I was asked a question. I gave a presentation. We ran a summer mayor school here, sponsored by our Municipalities Association, and I gave a presentation. And one of the questions, and this was before the accident, one of the questions that came up was, what kept you up at night as a mayor? Great question. And my answer was pretty simple. I was concerned about things like water contamination because we've had those situations in Canada.
Yeah.
I was concerned about a tornado coming through our community because we've had those kind of things. I was concerned about an accident where a number of people were killed. And guess what? It happened, and it can happen. So, for any mayors out there, you have to be prepared for the unexpected, and there will be emergencies and situations that require you and your council and your community to respond. Hope and pray nobody ever experiences this kind, but things happen, and it's very important that mayors and council are aware of that and prepared to deal with that. So,
and thank you for sharing that. Obviously, you can tell it's still very emotional, and our hearts go out to you still in the community. Tell us a little bit about your mayor's school. It's the first time I've heard of that.
Well, our executive director of our municipalities association, Laurent Mougeot, had done some international work through FCM, and actually discovered in the Ukraine, where they were doing a summer mayor's school. I believe it was Ukraine.
Oh,
and
cool.
He thought, well, okay, maybe we can do a little summer mayor's school concept here. So it happened at the University of Regina, and they have a residence there. It was a 2 or 3 day event. Come in one evening, have a dinner, a social, and a speaker, and then have some workshops for the next couple of days with various speakers and various topics. And it was very successful, and it ran again the next year. We had a lot of first-time mayors who had just been recently elected. So it was a great way to bring people together. You bring people together, and they sort of stay together. And you immediately have this network. You go out in the evening and have a beer or something, and you immediately start sharing a lot of things that you have questions about, and things that have worked and haven't worked, and so on. So a great concept.
That's really intriguing. I'd like to offline, obviously, after our show, but I'd like to chat with you more about that. I've developed an online kind of a virtual community mastermind for mayors.
Right.
To get together, and it's just reserved for mayors, but to talk to each other, and it's a kind of a Zoom session with small breakout rooms and things like that. So I'd love to pick your brain on that. And I didn't know that. So did the mayors come from all over Canada, or
no? It came from our province, and various parts of the province. And usually, the group was 25, 30, 35 people, roughly. I can't remember the exact numbers, but a very good, solid group of both experienced and new. And you get that diversity.
You need that.
It was great.
Yeah, that's amazing. Malcolm, we talked a little bit before about the culture of leadership. And I just wanted for you to share your thoughts about that, and the role of the mayor in a small or large community, in bringing forward their kind of vision and their leadership skills, and helping move the community forward.
Well, I just think this is such an important concept for mayors and councils, especially in small communities. To be thinking and talking about. I mean, good leadership is contagious. You can get other people into, and you have to recognize that as community leaders, as a council, there are other leaders in this community, most notably in your business community. I mean, you got some tremendous leaders in the industry and businesses. You've got community groups like a seniors organization. You've got, your minor sports people. And, if you can develop that culture of leadership in the community, it strengthens your community, and, if you're really thinking about succession planning as a mayor or council, where are your future councilors and mayors going to come from? They're going to come from those community groups and organizations, just like I did. That was my journey. I watched and I admired and I respected other leaders in the community and learned from them. And, so I think this culture of leadership in the community is really, really important. We talk about governance and leadership skills. And sometimes you need to share those and involve the wider community groups and organizations in those. It's important for your minor sports organization to have good governance and some good leadership skills as it is for your council. So I think
there's a lot of politics in ball and hockey.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
The small P politics.
Yeah, I think it's really important.
And in 2017, you were named Humboldt City or Citizen of the Year. And congratulations on that. And can you share with us, why they selected you that particular year? And it's super exciting.
Well, it was, and it's a real honor. Of course, it's an honor to serve, and I took it as just a recognition of the heart and soul that I put into my work as mayor and into some other things I had been involved in, and I'm just very grateful. At the same time, you got to share that kind of recognition with your family. My wife, who sometimes had to get on the agenda of the meeting in order to connect with me.
That'll be another show.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just one of those things. When you're elected mayor, your wife's elected as well.
Yeah.
Your family is. And she was really thrilled at an event. Our Premier Brad Wall, just a wonderful, generous, friendly kind of guy, called her the First Lady of Humboldt. And awesome. she carried that for a long time. And still does, really appreciate it because she took that as such a sign of recognition and respect from him. Anyways, and I also share the recognition for an award like Citizen of the Year with the council members that I worked with, committee members, our staff in the municipality. I mean, nobody does this job by themselves.
No.
There's a team and a network out there, and a lot of supporters and a lot of helpers. So,
yeah, I say this to almost every guest when I remember that I really take my hat off to our elected officials and really anybody that throws their name in the hat and runs for politics. It's so absolutely critical for our democracy to thrive, but especially mayors. It's councilors. There's 6 seats or 8 seats or whatever, but a mayor, there's only one, and if you win, you're it, and if you don't, you don't get another chance for say 4 years. So It's a really impressive growth mindset that mayors and our politicians, but especially mayors, show and demonstrate to us, and this resiliency and adaptability, which I think really helps to thrive. And I love that in Arianna Huffington's book called Thrive, she talks about there's wealth and power or influence, but then there's this third metric which helps us thrive, and that's wisdom, wonder, and well-being. Yeah. And Malcolm, you've really shown, I think, today in our conversation, this wisdom and wonder and well-being, and hats off to you and the community of Humboldt. It's an awesome to meet you, and want to say that you're not an old gray mayor. You're a thriving mayor, and
Thank you
really
very much.
appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you very much. I've enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you a lot, everybody, for joining Malcolm and I today, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Malcolm, if you stay on and after the outro, and I'll just thank you again.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Thank you for joining the Thriving Mayor Show. Make sure to like and share and tell your friends and colleagues. Mayors are awesome and are the change agents to enhance the quality of living for over 80% of us. Remember what Coach Wooden said, you cannot live a perfect day without doing something for someone who can never repay you. Much love and peace. Until next time.